Hello everyone, this is FlatLine, and today we're going to be doing my next episode for FlatLine Daily. I think this is the 5th episode. Might be wrong on this one. But we're going to be going over adjusting your builds upon learning how to adjust your builds. So if you are creating your own build, or let's say you copied a pro's build from a VOD or a replay that you're able to get a hold of, and then you end up losing a game, but then you're like, but I just copied, or I don't know what I could do. You need to go look into the replay itself, figure out what you can adjust, so that way you can defend it upon scouting it or something like that. Anyways, it's going to be a PvP, so this is going to be one of those rare cases where I'm going to actually show myself losing a game, which is totally fine. Everyone loses. As weird as that sounds, people in GM do lose. No one's undefeated that I know of. But anyways, it's gonna be a PvP on Frost. I played the same guy, I think 4 times. I think this is the first time, and then the next game I'm gonna do is the second time. But my intentions is to go for, or my initial mindset is, okay, 4-player map, I like to go for a DT expand into Robo with a Forge and go into Immortal Archon composition. Simple as that. So we see Twilight Council is pretty much everything going normal for me. And I'm just going to scout around as well. With this build, the DT expand, am I trying to kill him with DTs? Not necessarily. It's more to kind of defend, and then at the same time kind of keep him back at his base, because he has to worry about the threat of DTs going into his base. So I'm not really trying to rush for this Dark Shrine. Now there are some weaknesses to this build, as most PvP builds there are. Usually this loses to like 10 gate, 3 gate, just because the Dark Shrine's really late. And very quick DTs, because they could kill the robotics. Like I said, this is not really to kill him, so we're going to put a pylon in the middle between the bottom left and the top left, because we did scout bottom right and he's not there, so the only possible spawning locations for him is the left side of this map. And it's pretty much what's going on. So there's my DT Shrine, there's my Robo, there's my Forge, pretty much playing out how I want it to be played. I know he's got my DT Shrine or my Twilight Council, so I was assuming that he was going to have Observer out on time, so I don't want to lose the DT, but I do want him to poke, so that way he can be like, hey, you know what, this guy actually does have DTs, so he needs to, he's going to play a little bit more cautious. Look at this, he has cannons going up pretty early in the game as well. Alright, back at my base, chrono boosting my upgrades here, getting a Warp Prism. Usually whenever it's DT Robo, a good common follow-up is to get a Warp Prism out and be able to drop inside the main, but this guy is way ahead of me with the photon cannon and even a stalker inside the main, so I'm not going to be able to do any kind of damage whatsoever. So my next follow-up behind this is to go for an Immortal drop. Now this is not the biggest, like these little tactics that I'm doing right here doesn't really make a big difference at all. It's just little things we're not really gonna cover up. So we got my Templar Archives. You usually want to get this before you get a 3rd base with this build, because you want to be able to make sure you're constantly warping in while you're expanding. And usually whenever you expand, you're going to be really low on minerals and really high on gas. But my money's actually pretty outrageous here as I add on my gates. Now he is going to do the same build both games, I'm pretty sure. So you're going to see the effect or the difference between the first game and the second game. So we're going to pause it here, and we're going to look at what I saw. I saw all his gates. I also saw that he wasn't making any probes inside his main. Usually when I'm in the higher level, if they're not making any probes, either they got supply block or they are literally going to be doing a 2-base all-in. No really reason to stop making probes usually. We also saw the robotics base, so we know it's Colossus based. saw all these gateways as well. So we know it's a 2 base all in. I scouted it, but look at my army. It's not that big compared to his. 46 to 27 in favor of him. And also my gates are pretty late. So in this game I end up playing a little bit too greedy, because also if you look at the units tab, I have more probes as well. But the biggest common thing is my gateway timings. It's something I definitely took note of. I got my gateways a little bit too late. A little bit too late. And because of that, this is so greedy of me. I should have never done this. I don't know where his army is. Which is another thing I will fix with this build. I need to make sure I know some kind of way of knowing where his army is to allow me to kind of move out on the map, or if I want to do something like that. But anyway, so this is how I pretty much end up losing. I play a little bit too greedy. My gateways were late. To sum up everything, my gateways were pretty much late. That was probably the biggest thing. And then moving out prematurely without any kind of vision or any knowledge of where his army's at. It's pretty much how I end up dying here. So we're just gonna fast forward this. You can see myself dying. Cool, yay! I end up. Oh yeah, I made DTs. DTs as a last resort to stay alive. But here's the observer. Now I'm screwed. Alright, there we go. I end up losing. Cool, yay. Now, second game, we want to fall back on what we just learned from the first game that we just saw, that he hit the 2 base timing. I did scout all those gateways. Scouted all those gateways. I just didn't get my gateways fast enough as well, and I didn't react to scouting the all-in. Alright, so let's see what I changed in this game. I'm still gonna get a 3rd base, by the way, but you're gonna see a totally different result from this game to the first game, where I end up getting the victory screen at the end of this game. So same build. I'm gonna be going for that DT expand. And I'm pretty sure he does the same opening as well. We'll see. I believe it's like 1 gate expand. Oh, nope, it's 2 gate expand into Robo. Same build. I'm pretty sure I put the same buildings in the same spots as I did when I was over here. Just, you know, obviously it's flipped horizontal. So there's my 2 gates, my Robo, my Dark Shrine, and sooner or later my Forge should be adding on pretty soon here. So he actually caught my DT. I guess he learned that. That's something you can learn. He learned that I kind of like be a little bit cautious with my DT. And so he wanted to make it look like he didn't have an observer with the sentries, and then he just force field around it, and then I end up losing it. So that was pretty good by him. Adding on my extra gates up to 4 gates. You're going to see me add on my Templar Archives, and then there's my 3rd as well. Should be adding on my Templar Archives pretty soon here. Or do I already have it? I don't have it. There it is. Alright. So here's the difference. You can see I'm already adding on my gateways early in the game. I did no pressure because he kind of deflected it, right? So there's really nothing I could have done beyond that, as he's still doing his 2 base all in. There's the Colossus, there's his gateways, he's getting his 1-1, and he also gets charged with this. But the biggest difference, like I said, is my gateway timings. I hit them a lot quicker. I believe this is about a minute early. And you can look at the probe count. Remember the last game I had 56 probes to his 50 probes. Instead, now I'm stopping at around 50 to 51 probes, because I already have this expansion and he doesn't. So my advantage is already clear cut, right? If he's going to expand, then I could just resume making probes. If he's not going to expand, that's cool. I have a 3rd base where I can send, a couple of extra probes that I have while I'm powering up on units, because it's really easy to spend money on immortals. It's really easy to spend money on archons and charge lots because they complement one another. One's really high, one's only mineral based, which is the zealot, and the other one's really low on minerals but really high on gas, which is the high templars. There I am, making my units. We did scout that he didn't get a third base. We also scouted all those gateways from him going down, so we know this is coming. And we did see, remember what the other thing? I spotted where his army was gonna come. His army's already in the middle of the map, so now he's going across the map to kill me. You can also see I got this watchtower as well, so that helps quite a bit. Where is my... oh, there's my ship. Okay, so if you look at the army supply, it's a lot different though. I have 73 supply to his 69, but I have more probes and I also have a third base. These are the little... sorry about that. Alright, so here we go. I'm gonna be playing aggressive, or we're gonna be pushing into one another. We both have our time warps on each other. But the biggest difference is that I come out way ahead. He actually went for +2 attack, then +1 attack and +1 armor, which is actually better for him in this case. Even though he ends up losing this game, it's actually better. And he ends up getting steamrolled. But you can see when it comes to... this is probably very, very quick daily compared to the other ones. But I wanted to recap. You need to take every loss serious if you want to get better at the game. You want to do one build per matchup generally, and you can see I did the same build against the same guy, played 4 times, and I'm pretty sure I did the build 4 times against them. But all of them I learned something. So the first game I learned, okay, I was playing too greedy, I got too many probes. 2, I didn't know where his army was, and most importantly 3, my gateways were late. So what did I do? I adjusted my build where I stopped making probes after I get a third base. I stopped making probes. I want to scout to see if he is going to all in, and I want to get my gateways a little before 11 minutes. So why 11 minutes? If you look at the build time, the gateways take about a minute to build, and if you look at 12 minutes, he starts to move out. That's what we learned from the first game as well, is the timings. You can learn timings from it. So around 12 minutes is around the time he likes to move out and put on that aggression against you. So you want to have your warp gates done before 12 minutes, so you're able to change them into warp gates, and then beyond, and then from there warp in units. So anyways, thank you for watching. I know this is probably a very quick daily, but I'm hoping that this was good enough for you, where you can learn a little bit more about how you can, because if you think about it, if you take all the dailies together, you can construct your own build, your own awesome, safe style build. Because if you ever watch my games, you rarely see any pros do the same thing as I do, because it's a build that I'm comfortable with and maybe they're not comfortable with. And it's always about comfort when it comes to doing a build in this game. It's better to do a build that you're comfortable with than doing a build you're not comfortable with but is standard in the meta right now. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please follow me on Twitch and Twitter. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, if you like what you see. You can check out my website at FlatLineSE2.com, where it's a little bit more structured, a little bit more organized, where you can find some pretty awesome stuff. But yeah, anyways, guys and gals, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.